welcome back to 164 Revival. And this episode is the December 4 Horsemen. What we're doing is we're creating a rat rod. We've got the Hot Wheels 32 Ford that we're taking apart right here. These are fairly new castings, so everything's going to be in pretty good shape. We're going to get rid of those wheels. We're going to do a wheel swap. We'll be chopping up the body just a little. Well, actually, not the whole body. We're going to be getting rid of that scoop on there, and we're going to be replacing that engine with this engine right here. It's a bit bigger. So we're going to have a little adventure with that. Going to have to cut the existing motor out of there and the grill, because we're going to need to use that. We're going to reincorporate that. See, this is just plastic, so this will go through pretty quick. And now we're going to get the grill off of there. Do not cut like this at home. I am a trained professional. Do as I say, not as I do. It'll take a little bit to get that in there. It's obviously, everybody knows handling these little pieces. It looks a lot more dangerous than it was, but at the same time, it is dangerous. You can cut yourself up pretty good, and believe me, I have. So, on the newer engine, we got to cut those tabs off of the bottom that help mount this engine. I believe it was, I can't remember what casting it was. It was kind of an oddball casting from a truck, in which this was it was mounted in the bed, and all you had to do was pop it off. So, yeah, we got those off of there. That way we can mount that flush down in. And being that we've got to put that motor in there, the scoop and that post have got to get cut off. Now we're still going to incorporate this post. I just got to get the scoop off of there. First things first, which I probably should have done this beforehand, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and drill down in to the post. Like I said, while it was attached is when I probably should have done it. I got a little ahead of myself. So, like I said, it is what it is. Try to improvise. I know pliers will hold that a lot better. You dipstick. Yep, I nicked myself. So, well, I got the post cut anyway. We're going to stick that right down there in the middle. Get that secured in there. Got it drilled out. Can't remember if I tapped it at that point. Doesn't look like it. We're going to get it centered up in there right on that plastic center post that's inside that engine. Now again, I got ahead of myself and I cut the bell housing off of that engine when I really didn't need to, because there's the gap in that firewall. Once you cut the post and the scoop off of there. So anyway, got the old JB Jim Silva out, and we're going to fill in the cavity of that engine, and then place the post inside. There you go. There's the cavity. Yeah, we see it. Get on with it. And I did have to trim out a little bit on the base, and there's the post. So we can give this a shot instead of just slapping that engine in there and gluing all over, and having an open hole in the base where the screw typically would mount. We're going to be able to use that and screw that in, and it'll look right from the bottom side. So back to the JB Gem. Obviously you got to mix that up. Everybody that doesn't work with this stuff, it's just 2-part. Mix it up real good. Get you a couple of nice big dollops. Fill in that cavity. Goes in there pretty easy. Get her all mixed around. And now we want to center that post that we had just cut. Slide it around in there, and the end of that will butt up with that centered plastic post that was inside the cavity. We'll give it a good stop. Not sure if you can really see that very well, but it's in there. We gotta let that set. We'll move on. Now I use the dry erase marker, black dry erase, and use that technique to get the tampos off there, because I want to leave this black as a base, and then I'm going to tape off the rear and then the doors, because I'm going to leave the doors as if they were kind of rusty. So I got it all taped off, and I used some rattle can, some Rust-Oleum, kind of a rust, flat rust. Let's peel this off and see how we got it. So far so good. I wanted to give it an appearance that the doors and the trunk lid came from a separate car. So everything seems to be pretty good. And I kind of skipped a step there in the description of this. I also, just before that, I ran some flat gray primer, and that was rattle can too. That way, while I'm kind of messing with it, or I want to scuff something up, it'll kind of hit back into the black. And doing these rat rods, it doesn't matter if you don't want fingerprints in it, but if you get your fingers all over it and you smudge it or you scrape it, no big deal. It's kind of the same concept of the Mad Max, you know. I mean, you really can't screw those up with regards to making them dingy and grungy, so that seems to be pretty good. It's the way I kind of pictured it coming out anyway. Okay, next I got the motor mounted, and sorry about the camera not being in focus completely, but you can see I got a button in there, a button head screw in there. The JB Weld set up, and what I did on the front side there, you can see I put an axle tube in there, some of that K&S tubing. All I did was just use a round needle file, filed out a groove in there, glued that in there. Now we're going to do kind of a little dry fit real quick. Make sure everything's coming together, and you can see that gap between the firewall and the engine. I really could have left that bell housing in there. It'll look better. So I did the same thing. I got the on the back for the wheels, and it looks a little gooped up in there, but you ain't gonna see it. I put some rear tail lights, which I'm going to modify those. They're sticking out pretty good. Those are just jewels, just hobby jewels in red, and straight pins. And you can see I got the grill on there. Just had to glue that up in there, and it fit pretty good. So I'm going to kind of do as I did on the back. I've got this straight pin, and let's see, I kind of did it, if I remember right, I kind of did it a couple ways. I trimmed, which I probably shouldn't have done, but my thought was I'll go ahead and trim it first and then get it in there. But what I do is I got sitting there, I got a little hobby torch, and I'll put the straight pin in a clamp. I'll heat that end up. You can't really see it there, but it'll get red hot. Get it right where you need to place it. And see, again, I probably shouldn't have cut the end off of there I did it too quick. It's better if you just leave the pointed end, heat that up, and it goes in a lot better. Okay, so after all that fiddle farting around trying to get those pins head up and stuffed into the plastic part of the base, I've got the clear gems that I'm going to place on the pin heads. As you can see, just glue them right up on there. So do that for one side, and you do that for the other. Then you just press them into where you believe you need to have them. They're sticking out a little too far, just kind of like on the back side for the tail lights. So just press them in there a little bit more, and voila, you got yourself some headlights on there made out of gems. And got her all put together. Got the wheels on. Set those tail lights in a little bit. Did some minor detail, and as you can see, some of the scuffs and all that from handling it just made it look, the lack of paint job look even better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know I enjoyed building it, so I encourage you to go ahead and check out Keith there at Outlaw Speed Shop, and Xavier Diecast Show Customs, and Paul Diecast Graveyard. This is Jeff with 164 Revival for the Four Horsemen, and we'll catch you on the next one.